Why Nobody Lives in Montana. Hi everyone, and thank you for attending our unique presentation. We're so happy to see you all here with us today. First of all, we want to sincerely thank each and every one of you for coming. Your presence adds so much specialness to this occasion. We explore a novel and fascinating subject today, the reason no one lives in Montana. You did really hear correctly. Montana is utterly deserted despite its enormous and breathtaking vistas, towering mountains, and wide-open plains. We will examine a variety of potential causes for this phenomenon in this presentation, including historical occurrences, environmental variables, and social and economic dynamics. Remember to like and give us a thumbs up so we can continue regularly uploading videos. Geographical seclusion. So when we produced the identical video for Wyoming and Alaska, this one appeared. They are somewhat remote from any large metropolis. That's different, I suppose, if you live far away from other big cities. There aren't any significant metro areas close to this entire state. This now gives rise to several issues, and one of the most significant ones is attracting large industries with large workforces. Though they haven't experienced a significant boom, Montana has had a few small tech businesses relocate there recently, particularly in the Billings region. You should realize that most people in Montana are okay with that. My viewpoint: Montana is one of those locations you should avoid touching. Much like national parks, large hotels and other structures cannot be built on the land. They wish to preserve it in immaculate shape. That's kind of how things are in Montana. If we simply left it alone, that would be wonderful. However, the isolation makes it harder for individuals to access the state and its services, which deters potential residents. It's not just the businesses that suffer from this. The ninth is a severe environment. Yes, the weather in Montana may be a little unpredictable. With its very cold winters and scorching summers, Montana is somewhat of a weather extreme. Because of this, living and working there can be difficult, which may discourage individuals from truly making the state their home. Discussed when we were talking about Wyoming that in the early days of human settlement, these states with more extreme weather conditions and rugged terrain were essentially disregarded or passed by as people traveled west. When they arrived in Oregon, Washington, California, or even Utah, they found a little friendlier terrain and climate, and they passed over Wyoming and Montana for those locations. Yes, that was a long time ago, but the state's progress was delayed by it. Eighth, few employment prospects. The economy of Montana is limited, and there aren't many work prospects. If you want to work somewhere other than fast food and retail, you'll probably need to search in mining, forestry, and other agricultural fields. You could end up working as a ranch hand, cleaning out stalls, and taking weekly showers. Seventh, restricted access to medical care. A large state is Montana. In actuality, it is the nation's fourth largest state. Additionally, there aren't many medical facilities there, particularly in the remote areas. People may find it difficult to obtain medical care when they need it as a result of this restricted access to health care, which naturally detracts from the state's appeal, particularly to older residents or those with long-term medical conditions. Many people seldom consider the fact that moving to a rural region can be challenging, when you need monthly treatment for a medical issue of some kind. To get to a hospital and sit in a machine, you had to travel for 5 hours by car. I mean, it's not good to spend an hour in that machine if you have to drive for 4 or 5 hours to get there. Their medical personnel are doing a good job, therefore their health care is not too bad right now. However, one of the primary factors taken into account when rating a state or city is accessibility to health care, and Montana has an excessive amount of territory and a dearth of clinics and hospitals. Lack of variety is number 6. One of the topics that always comes up in the polls is this. It also receives the most comments these days. Why would a lack of diversity deter someone from relocating to a community? There are a few different reasons, but one that comes up frequently is that I enjoy trying new dishes. For example, in areas without a significant Hispanic community, it would be difficult to locate excellent mom-and-pop taco shops. The same holds true for enjoyment or finding anything else. That is only what I believe. The opposing viewpoint states that when people relocate, they occasionally want to meet at least some people who are similar to them. This is because finding people with whom you click doesn't always imply shunning the local community. However, there is little racial and cultural variety in Montana's mostly white population. The fifth, rural lifestyle options. Small villages and remote settlements can be found all over Montana's rural landscape. People who live in rural areas may find it difficult to acquire resources and services that they may take for granted while living in an urban region. There are a few cities in Montana, but not many large ones. Their largest city, Billings, is home to only around 115,000 people. Missoula, with less than 75,000, and Great Falls, with approximately 60,000, are the next largest cities. And Bozeman has just over 50,000. To put that into perspective for those who are not from this country, Los Angeles, one of the major cities in the US, is home to just under 4 million people. Additionally, the total population of the metro region is closer to 13 million. Therefore, while Montana does not actually have much to offer in the way of cities, it does have a large number of tiny rural communities. It's a lovely spot to call home if you could live here as well. However, it turns off a lot of individuals. Fourth, less cultural and entertainment outlets. Montana doesn't have many large cities, as we recently discovered, and large cities have drawbacks. However, they also come with a lot of pretty fantastic amenities, such as a ton of theaters, museums, and concert venues. Montana can be a hard pass for you if you're one of those people who enjoys things like that, just because of their small population. Well, I'm not really into museums. Furthermore, I'm not too interested in music halls or anything similar. I enjoy a nice theme park. Additionally, I occasionally enjoy visiting bars that don't have a lot of country music on repeat. Do it though, if that's what you're into. Just a large number of respondents to the study indicated that this was one issue they found concerning about Montana. Now, view the comments on this video if you're bored. Many Montanans are making statements along the lines of, well, if it's keeping them away, we got to build more museums in. The third is an expensive way of living. Very speaking to other states in this region, Montana has a very high cost of living. People with lower earnings may find it difficult to afford Montana due to the high cost of living. There are several states that defy the general assumption that if you live anywhere other than the East or West Coast, you should be less expensive. Montana is somewhat less expensive than, say, California or New York, but not significantly less expensive than Mississippi, Arkansas, or even Missouri. However, many children who attend universities choose to remain in that community. Approximately 50% of the individuals I am aware of who relocated from my hometown to another state after graduating from college didn't actually return home. Regardless of the state they attended, they essentially never returned home after college. There were a few that stayed in Arizona, a few in the Boston region, a large number here in Oregon, and a few more dispersed across the nation. Universities do contribute significantly to population growth, both in the short and long terms. Alright, remember that we have another channel named on this day before we move on to number 1. A link to that can be found below. We would be overjoyed if you subscribed over there. And let's go on to number 1. First and foremost, public opinion. Not many people are familiar with Montana. It has a decent reputation. They simply have this image of being somewhat desolate, lonely, and sparsely populated. And because of this, it is less appealing to those who are moving from cities or states with higher population densities, as we previously discussed. While many individuals adore the beauty of areas like Alaska, Montana, and Wyoming, most people would rather live close to a metropolis. I appreciate you seeing. Remember to subscribe and like our YouTube channel.